Hey everyone, this is Apurba Sastry from ESIC Government Medical College, Hyderabad, and today we'll be talking about Chagas disease, which is caused by the organism Trypanosoma cruzi. So we'll be discussing this organism under the headings life cycle, pathogenesis, and lab diagnosis. This is not a very important organism, but we'll still complete it. So coming to the life cycle, Trypanosoma cruzi starts its infection by the transmitting organism, this vector, which is the redovid bug. Okay, so it spreads by rubbing the redovid bug's feces on abraded skin. After this, the trypomasticotes enter the man. The feces contain the trypomasticotes which enter the man, and they go in various tissues. These tissues can be GID tissues, nervous tissues, or anywhere. These trypomasticote forms go there, and when they enter the tissues inside the cells of the tissues, they convert into the intracellular form, which is the amasticote. Okay, that's all you have to remember for now. The trypomasticotes are the extracellular form and the amasticotes are the intracellular form. The amasticotes then multiply rapidly and are eventually released into the blood. Okay, and in the blood, they again get the extracellular form, trypomasticote. They convert. From there, they migrate to other organs again after infecting one organ earlier. Now they migrate to other organs. Eventually, the redovid bug will bite again, and the trypomasticotes will be taken into the gut of the blood of the bug, where it converts into epimasticote form. Okay, this epimasticote form travels through the gut and eventually converts back into the trypomasticote form, which is released in the feces and again rubs on the abraded skin. So basically what's happening is we are converting from the trypomasticote extracellular form to the amasticote intracellular form, right? And we're doing this cycle inside the man and then inside the redovid bug, where only once we convert into the epimasticotes. Okay, there's nothing important here. Just remember that the type of forms it takes. Next, coming to the pathogenesis. Pathogenesis is divided into 4 stages. Okay, the early stage disease, acute Chagas, indeterminate stage, and chronic Chagas. Okay, so let's start with early stage disease. This early stage disease will actually show some important manifestations like some skin changes and some ocular eye changes. On skin, we'll get something called a chagoma, which is basically a painful nodule on site of deposition of bug feces. So the site where the bug deposits its feces, from which the trypomasticotes infects the man, a painful nodule will form, which is called chagoma. Ocular signs is called Romana sign, where we will see conjunctivitis mainly. Okay, Romana sign, conjunctivitis. That's it for early stage disease. Next, we enter into the acute Chagas. Okay, this acute Chagas is characterized by fever, hepatosplenomegaly, and lymphadenopathy. Just characteristic generalized features: fever, hepatosplenomegaly, and lymphadenopathy. Okay, so after acute Chagas, we get into the indeterminate stage. So we don't know how long the organism will stay in this stage, but it stays asymptomatic from years to decades. Okay, it does nothing, just stays in the body. After that, we develop chronic Chagas one day, where we'll get different manifestations. Okay, so first we get the cardiac manifestation, where we can see things like dilated cardiomyopathy, arrhythmias, thromboembolism. Okay, these major cardiac problems: cardiomyopathy, arrhythmia, thromboembolism. Then we go in the GIT, where we see mega esophagus, mega colon. Okay, everything's dilated here. Then we go in the concerned with autoimmune diseases. This organism actually undergoes molecular mimicry, and so it causes tissue damage. Okay, it undergoes molecular mimicry and can cause tissue damage, because our host thinks it's our own cell, but it's actually an infective cell and causes tissue damage in the process. Next, with respect to the immune system, it triggers the cell-mediated immunity and triggers something called antibody-dependent cell cytotoxicity. Okay, and it causes tissue damage. Okay, this is just a type of cell-mediated immunity. Next, after this, in people who have HIV or HTLV, basically they are immunocompromised people. These people are at higher risk of reactivation of disease. The disease might be reactivated early in them. Okay, in people with HIV and HTLV. Okay, so basically in pathogenesis we discussed was in early stage we get this skin and ocular manifestations. We get the chagoma, painful nodule. We get the Romana conjunctivitis sign. Then in acute Chagas, we just get some generalized features. We stay in the indeterminate stage for a few years to decades. Then in chronic Chagas, again, we get some cardiac manifestations, some GIT, some autoimmune. we get an immune cell-mediated immune response, and we get early activation in people with HIV and HDLV. That's it. Okay. Coming to the lab diagnosis, the final section. The specimen we can take for this is blood for lab diagnosis, and we can create a thick smear, we can create a thin smear, we can create a wet mount. But what you want to observe in these cultures is basically trypomastigote forms. We need to detect these trypomastigotes in the smears and the wet mount. Okay. Next, we take a culture. We take a culture in an NNN medium, and we detect the epimastigote form. So first, via the wet mount and smear, we detected trypomastigotes. Then via culture, we detected epimastigote form. Next, we'll detect antibody detection. Antibody detection, there will be some specific IgGs to this organism. Specific IgGs formed, which will be detected by ELISA, Western blot, and RIPA, which is radioimmunoprecipitation assay. Okay, so basically ELISA, Western blots, and RIPA. Next, we will do antigen detection. Antigen detection again will be a Trypanosoma Cruzi specific antigen, which will be detected by ELISA, and molecular studies by PCR. Very easy. Lab diagnosis, blood smear. Smear and mount will detect trypomastigotes, in culture will detect epimastigotes, and then we detect antibody and antigen which are specific to Trypanosoma Cruzi using ELISA, Western blot. Okay, so this was the lab diagnosis. So that's it for this organism. Just for a recap, the life cycle basically consists of the trypomastigote extracellular form, amastigote intracellular form, and then when it goes into the red-oid bug, it just takes a epimastigote form. Other than that, it's just a cycle which repeats. Okay. Then in pathogenesis, we read about the early stage disease, acute Chagas, indeterminate and chronic Chagas. So where we saw the Chagoma painful nodule, Romana sign, conjunctivitis, and in chronic we saw some cardiac GIT, autoimmune, immune, and HIV, HDLV causing being a risk factor. Okay, and then we discussed the lab diagnosis, which we already discussed in detail. So this was Chagas disease. Hope you guys liked the video. Thank you.